For all its beauty and splendor, the wilderness can be a cruel teacher. Embarking on the exhilarating adventure of river rafting is a courageous pursuit that thrusts you into the heart of nature's untamed beauty. The roaring rivers, challenging rapids, and breathtaking landscapes offer a canvas for unforgettable moments and self-discovery. However, within this thrilling expedition lies the sobering reality of the dangers accompanying such an undertaking. The river is both a formidable adversary and a tough instructor, offering dangerous lessons that extend beyond the thrill of the ride. Please click the subscribe and like buttons. This is Outdoor Disasters. The Colorado River, born from the Rocky Mountains, weaves its way through the heart of the American West, carving out some of the most awe-inspiring landscapes on Earth. From the towering cliffs of the Grand Canyon to the red rock wonders of Canyonlands, the river tells a story etched in stone over millions of years. River rafting down the Colorado River is an exhilarating adventure that takes you through some of the most breathtaking and challenging landscapes in the United States. The Colorado River is known for its powerful currents and dramatic canyons. Embarking on a rafting expedition through the Grand Canyon is a pilgrimage for adventurers and nature enthusiasts alike. The canyon's vastness envelops you, and with each paddle stroke you navigate a corridor of time, witnessing the geological masterpiece that Mother Nature has painted across the canyon walls. Colorado River rafting trips can range from several days to a few weeks, depending on the chosen route. Although rafting was one of mankind's earliest forms of transportation, the origins of Colorado whitewater rafting are relatively young and can be traced back to 1869 when Major John Wesley Powell led 10 men in 4 wooden boats on a scientific rafting exploration of the Green and Colorado rivers. Although their boats weren't built for Colorado whitewater rafting, there were many times when the men had no choice but to hold on tight and ride the rapids, a practice still occasionally followed by newbies on their first Colorado whitewater rafting excursion. Following Powell's initial voyage, several other notable explorers and adventurers embarked on their own rafting expeditions through the Grand Canyon. Today, thousands worldwide flock to experience Grand Canyon rafting trips, thanks to pioneers like Major John Wesley Powell and those who followed him. These thrilling adventures offer an unparalleled opportunity for visitors to immerse themselves in this awe-inspiring landscape while experiencing its powerful rapids firsthand. Rafting through the Grand Canyon is an iconic and sought-after experience. The Grand Canyon section of the Colorado River is renowned for its towering canyon walls, challenging rapids, and stunning geological formations. The Colorado River's call echoes through the canyons, inviting adventurers to embark on a journey that transcends the ordinary. It's a call to discover the untamed beauty, challenge personal limits, and become part of a narrative that has been flowing since time immemorial. For Glen and Bessie Hyde, their Colorado River rafting adventure would be a mystery. In February 1927, Glen and Bessie's journey began as they crossed paths on a passenger ship from San Francisco to Los Angeles, California. Their love blossomed, leading to marriage plans. Glen, hailing from Kimberly, Idaho, and a University of Idaho alumnus, later managed his family's farm. Meanwhile, Bessie, originally from Parkersburg, West Virginia, and married to Earl Helmick, decided to pursue art in San Francisco after moving there. Facing resistance from Earl for a divorce, Bessie relocated to Elko, Nevada, fulfilling residency requirements and filing for divorce. On April 12, 1928, Glen and Bessie tied the knot in Twin Falls, Idaho, just a day after Bessie's divorce was finalized. Glen, aged 29, and Bessie, 22, embarked on an extraordinary honeymoon adventure. They constructed a homemade boat for a daring trip from Utah to California down the Green and Colorado rivers, navigating the perilous Grand Canyon. Glen, an adventurous outdoorsman, sought to set a record-fast canyon run with Bessie, marking her as the first documented woman to traverse the Grand Canyon via the Colorado River without life jackets. Crafting their 20-foot-long, 5.5 feet wide, 3 feet deep, flat-bottomed sweep scow boat from 2x4 planks, Glen and Bessie meticulously planned their journey. Despite Bessie's lack of river experience, Glen envisioned achieving instant notoriety through this daring expedition. Their ambition extended beyond the adventure itself. They aimed to write a book, embark on a lecture circuit, and financially benefit from recounting their remarkable journey. 6 months after Glen and Bessie exchanged vows, on October 20th, 1928, they arrived in Glen's hometown of Green River, Utah, and embarked on their boat journey down the Green River. An adept Green River riverman, upon inspecting their boat, likened it to a coffin, noting its uniqueness in comparison to anything that had navigated the Colorado River before. During this period, most individuals navigating the river were either seasoned explorers or part of professional expeditions. Over the ensuing weeks, Glen and Bessie traversed through the Labyrinth, Stillwater, Cataract, and Glen Canyons, encountering smooth sailing in the initial leg of their journey. With ample provisions and Glen's proficient river riding and boat building skills, they successfully navigated the frothy waters of the Colorado River. In early November, they reached the Grand Canyon, where Glen corresponded with his sisters, describing the rapids as longer, faster, and larger than those on other rivers. Glen even fell overboard at one point, requiring Bessie's assistance to get back onto the boat. Another instance saw Bessie nearly tossed overboard during a rapid. It took them 26 days to cover over 200 miles or 320 kilometers from Utah to Bright Angel Creek in the heart of the Grand Canyon, setting a new record. On November 15th, 1928, with the most perilous stretch still ahead, they ascended the Bright Angel Trail and halted in Grand Canyon Village on the south rim. During their stay, they gathered supplies, visited Emery Kolb, an experienced river navigator and canyon documentarian, and posed for photographs by the canyon's rim. Kolb, aware of the impending dangers, tried to dissuade Glen and Bessie from continuing, offering life jackets and an inner tube. Glen, confident in their swimming abilities, declined all offers, expressing his determination to proceed without such safety measures. Kolb also observed Bessie's hesitance, possibly due to exhaustion or fear of the upcoming rapids. Despite Kolb's attempts to discourage them, the couple persisted. After spending the night at the El Tovar Hotel, where they were interviewed by newspapers about their journey, Glen and Bessie were driven to the head of the Bright Angel Trail on November 16, 1928, by Kolb's wife and daughter. Before leaving, Bessie made an eerily prescient remark before boarding the boat. In response to the outfit Kolb's young daughter was wearing, she commented, "I wonder if I shall ever wear pretty shoes again." Later that same day, Glen and Bessie picked up the affluent adventurer Adolph Sutro at Phantom Ranch. 2 days afterward, on November 18th, they left him at Hermit Camp and continued downstream into Hermit Rapid. Unfortunately, this marked their last sighting. When they failed to reach Needles, California by December 9th, Glen's father, R.C. Hyde, took the initiative to travel to the Grand Canyon and initiate a search for them. In a matter of days, R.C. organized multiple river parties to scour the area for Glen and Bessie. He enlisted Native American trackers to explore the canyon's rim and even secured authorization from the Secretary of War for an aerial canyon search. Kolb was appointed to lead the search party pursuing Glen and Bessie. 2 weeks into the search, a promising discovery was made by a search plane flying over the Grand Canyon. Drifting down the Colorado River, approximately 140 miles or 225 kilometers from the last sighting on November 18, 1928, was the small boat used by Glen and Bessie Hyde. Fueled by hope, ground rescuers hurried down the rocky riverbank to the location. To their surprise, the newlyweds' boat was found in impeccable condition, with only a foot of water inside. The boat appeared intact and well organized: clothes, food, guidebook, rifle, exposed camera film. Bessie's diary and other supplies were still securely strapped in place. Everything was there except for Glen and Bessie, creating an eerie scenario where they seemed to have vanished without a trace, leaving their honeymoon adventure suspended in time. The peculiar state of the boat added an extra layer of mystery to an already strange story. While disappearances in national parks were not uncommon, the Hydes, being more than typical tourists, never reached their intended destination. While accidental drowning appeared to be a plausible explanation, the absence of bodies made it impossible to confirm the cause of death or whether they had indeed perished. Basic math suggests that, on average, they would have covered around 10 miles per day. However, this calculation doesn't fully consider the challenging nature of the Colorado River. where even the most daring thrill-seekers face potentially life-threatening rapids. According to accounts from rescuers, the recorded travel rate was approximately 11 miles every 12 hours. Bessie herself noted in her journals the impact of adverse weather, resulting in a significantly slower pace once they reached the Grand Canyon. Corresponding with family through letters and informing the press that they departed Bright Angel Trail in Arizona on November 15, 1928, they confidently stated their intention to reach Needles, California around December 6, 1928, roughly 3 weeks later. Bessie's personal estimate was December 9th, and her final journal entry was on November 30th. Despite the frantic search initiated by Glen's father, R.C. Hyde, about 2 weeks after the anticipated arrival date in Needles, he noted their last letters from Bright Angel Trail suggested they wouldn't correspond until reaching Needles. Is it plausible that they miscalculated the time required to reach their destination, relying on the assurance that they had conquered the most challenging rapids and that the rescue efforts intervened prematurely, leaving them stranded? The last photograph, captured on Glen and Bessie's camera, was taken around November 27th near River Mile 165. Subsequent evidence, including footprints, suggested that the couple progressed to River Mile 225 or 226, where they established a camp. Bessie's final diary entry, dated November 30th, indicated they had successfully navigated Mile 231 rapid and were ahead of their planned schedule. Notably, the boat bore 42 notches, aligning with the number of days into the trip as per Bessie's last diary entry. Around the time of Glen and Bessie's disappearance, a prospector reported seeing a brown leather jacket floating in the river, an item known to be worn by Bessie. Authorities theorized that the couple might have fallen out of the boat and drowned upon hitting submerged rocks in the intense rapids near River Mile 232, a location known for causing damage to boats in the past. Kolb speculated that either Glen or Bessie might have fallen into the river while walking along it to inspect the next rapid, prompting the other to jump in for a rescue attempt. On the other hand, Rollin believed they encountered issues with their boat, attempted to hike out of the canyon, got lost, and perished in the woods. The recovered journal from the boat contained entries dated up to November 30th, revealing that the Hydes spent at least another 12 days on the water. Contrary to any indication in Bessie's diary, nothing suggested an abrupt end to their journey. According to reports from the time, the region stretching between Bright Angel and Needles is characterized by winding waterways, with frequent rapids and deep gorges. Along the crest of these gorges lies nothing but wilderness and a few scattered Indian villages. The area is notably remote, lacking in food resources. The search planes descended 3,000 feet, flying just 50 feet above the water for 3 days, covering a total distance of 246 miles, until locating the Hydes craft at Separation Rapids, also known as Separation Falls and situated above Diamond Creek, 13 miles east of the Grand Canyon. In the event of their boat capsizing and surviving without life preservers, they would have needed to ascend the canyon walls to reach civilization, as the searchers observed that the sole entrance/exit point to the river by foot, due to the canyon walls, was approximately 63 miles from Diamond Creek. The canyon walls were isolating, and any potential survivors would have faced freezing temperatures with snow on the canyon rim, along with the presence of rattlesnakes, scorpions, and fire ants. The region they were traversing was notably secluded from civilization at that time and lacked paved roads. R.C. Hyde suggested that the two likely had limited provisions, with later accounts mentioning that the only missing items from the boat were food. Decades later, there are claims that money was also missing. It appears plausible that their boat might have become stuck in a rapid, prompting them to continue their journey on foot. It's worth noting that Bessie's sketches were discovered in the boat, along with Glen's gun, two items they probably would not have willingly left behind. According to Bessie's journals and accounts from his sister Jean, Glen frequently hunted for his own food, a practice he likely continued when navigating challenging rapids. The canyon walls offered little in terms of food, even lacking fish. Local reports indicated that at the time of the disappearance, the river would have been impassable. Numerous experts theorized that they might have been stranded on a sandbar in the desert. Despite an extensive search, the remains of Glen and Bessie were never discovered. The 1977 finding of bones in Kolb's boathouse raised suspicions regarding a potential connection. Forensic anthropologist Dr. Walter Birkby identified the remains as those of a white male, aged between 20 and 23, standing at 6 feet tall with light brown hair and well-developed muscles. A .32 caliber bullet from a revolver manufactured around 1902 embedded in the skull added to the enigma. Items found with the bones, including pants, a shirt, a silver belt buckle, a dry leather shoe, and a fragment of an old leather wallet, hinted at a death in the 1920s. As Glen and Bessie were the sole individuals known to have disappeared in the Grand Canyon during that period, rumors circulated that Kolb may have murdered Glen to be with Bessie. However, Dr. Birkby dismissed this notion, conducting a facial comparison by superimposing a photograph of Glen over the skull. Discrepancies in eye orbits, cheek width, and chin shape led Dr. Birkby to conclude that the skull did not belong to Glen. The mystery deepens. If the bones are not Glen's, what befell him and Bessie? A plausible answer may lie in eyewitness reports claiming that Bessie is alive and revisiting the Grand Canyon, retracing the steps of her ill-fated honeymoon adventure 43 years after her disappearance. In 1971, an elderly woman embarked on a 20-day rafting trip through the canyon, and geologist George Billingsley was among the river guides. The woman, who claimed to be Bessie Hyde, shared a dark account of an abusive Glen, revealing that she had stabbed him, disposed of his body in the river, left the canyon, and started a new life on the East Coast. Writer Scott Thibany contacted her in Ohio, where she denied the story, asserting she was not Bessie. Despite discrepancies in records, some still consider her the missing woman. The mysteries persist. Whose bones were in Kolb's boathouse? Why were they concealed? Did Bessie harm Glen during their trip? And is she still alive? These questions endure, becoming part of the enduring legend of the Grand Canyon, with lingering suspicions surrounding key figures. Emery Kolb was one of the last people to see Glen and Bessie alive. After bones were found in his boathouse, there were rumors that he had killed Glen so that he could be with Bessie. However, tests later determined that they were not Glen's remains. A woman named Elizabeth Cutler claimed in 1971 that she was Bessie and that she had murdered Glen after an argument. However, she later recanted her story, and records indicated she was not Bessie. One theory suggests that Glen was abusive toward Bessie and killed her in a fit of rage. However, his friends and family said he loved Bessie and was not abusive. Conflicting reports emerged regarding whether Bessie was genuinely terrified, raising concerns about potential domestic violence. Adolf Sutro, one of the last individuals to witness Bessie and Glen alive, asserted that Bessie appeared terrified. There were two versions of events suggesting that Bessie was physically lifted and placed into the boat against her will. However, her journals provided no indication that she was being coerced down the river. Bessie seemed to be genuinely enjoying herself, expressing delight at the sight of mountains, offering poetic descriptions of rocks and sky, documenting their meals, sharing insights on people they encountered, and even romanticizing the experience of panning for gold, as evident in her journals. The last photograph taken of her remains haunting. Bessie's brother alleged that her ex-husband Earl Helmick had a violent temper, leading some to suspect his involvement in the couple's disappearance. Earl remarried in 1930 and remained tight-lipped about the case, though no evidence supports this theory. In May 1992, renowned Grand Canyon river runner Georgie White passed away, sparking speculation that she might be Bessie. Inside Georgie's lingerie drawer, her caretaker discovered a pistol and a certified copy of Glen and Bessie's marriage certificate, along with Georgie's birth certificate under the name Bessie DeRoss. However, disparities in appearance and background, such as height and literacy, suggested that the items were likely souvenirs. Georgie's early life was well documented, dismissing the notion that she could be Bessie. In 2006, Bob Williamson, whose father was a ranger in the Grand Canyon during the 1920s and 1930s, contributed photographs to the Grand Canyon Museum collection. Among them were pictures of a human skeleton. Research by museum employee Kim Beeson uncovered a 1933 report detailing the discovery of a man's skeleton near Shoshone Point. Identified as a suicide, the skeleton wore khaki trousers, a cotton shirt, and a shoe with a revolver and belongings found nearby. Williamson's father, an investigating ranger, had documented the case. In September 2008, cold case investigator Joe Sumner delved into the bones found in Kolb's boathouse. He believed they matched the 1933 skeleton discovered near Shoshone Point. Kolb, a county coroner jury representative at the time, reportedly brought the skeleton home after it remained unidentified, subsequently forgetting about it. Despite Sumner's efforts, the victim's identity remains unknown. With the passage of time, Glen and Bessie are presumed deceased. Elizabeth Cutler, who confessed to being Bessie, passed away in 1998, while Dr. Birkby, the forensic anthropologist, died on January 31, 2015, at the age of 84. Now, nearly a century since the Hydes were last seen, the circumstances of their disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. However, the most plausible explanation for their vanishing act doesn't involve foul play or concealed identities. Venturing through treacherous waters without life preservers, a formidable rapid could have easily tossed them overboard while leaving their securely tied down supplies undisturbed. The bottom of the Grand Canyon, far less frequented and developed in the 1920s than today, coupled with the mighty currents of the Colorado River, provided ideal conditions for two bodies to vanish without a trace. Though lacking the dramatic flair of legends, this scenario remains disconcerting. The National Park Service has documented numerous unsolved missing person cases dating back to the 1950s, suggesting that many more may exist off the record. This underscores the ease with which one can become lost within the expansive 84 million acres of preserved wilderness comprising the national parks system. Beyond the maintained trails and camps of a national park, a leisurely vacation with loved ones can swiftly transform into a struggle for survival. As the new year of 1928 unfolded, newspapers conceded to the presumed demise of the Hydes, shifting their focus to other news. The crestfallen father returned to Idaho to reflect on Bessie's journal. Despite a return the following winter to search the rim country for their bodies, he never located them. Amidst brewing conspiracy theories, Bessie's father leaned toward the possibility of murder. Famed river runner Norman Nevels believed drowning was the likely scenario, while river historian Otis Marston believed the couple met their fate in a violent rapid at mile 232. Over the years, multiple individuals have claimed to be Bessie, yet the truth remains elusive until their bodies are found. Perhaps the story of the Hydes is best concluded with this haunting poem by Bessie written in her journal. "Oh, Mama dear, please come. My Dolly must be drowned. When I put her on the creek, she sunk without a sound. Wee Betty's eyes filled with tears. Where could poor Dolly be? Perhaps she'd turned into a mermaid and drifted out to sea." Adventuring into the wilderness demands preparation, knowledge, and an unyielding commitment to safety. Equip yourself with the tools of survival and arm your mind with wisdom. Respect for the dangers of your expedition is key to a safe return. For in the face of a dangerous journey, the line between joyous adventure and a survival situation is thin, and it is only the vigilant and prepared who emerge triumphant. When white river rafting, always wear a personal flotation device or life jacket. Ensure it fits snugly and is properly fastened. Use a helmet to protect your head from potential collisions with rocks or other obstacles. Select a raft that is appropriate for the river's difficulty level and your experience. Sit facing forward with your feet braced and positioned as directed by your guide. This helps maintain stability and balance in the raft. Grip the raft's handles or safety lines tightly during rapids to avoid being thrown overboard. Lean into the raft rather than away from it. If you fall out, try to stay close to the raft and swim to the upstream side. Avoid getting caught between rocks and the raft. If conditions become too dangerous or if you're uncomfortable with the level of difficulty, communicate with your guide. It's okay to abort a trip if safety is compromised. Remember, while white river rafting can be an adrenaline-pumping experience, safety should always be the top priority. So, heed the call of the wilderness, but tread carefully. It's a domain that rewards the bold and punishes the reckless. As you navigate the untamed landscapes, remember that every step taken with caution is a step closer to navigating the wilderness and discovering the untold treasures it holds. Important safety tips so you can avoid an outdoor disaster. Thank you for watching. Want more outdoor disaster content? Check out these stories I believe you'll enjoy.